Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, welcome back to me. My name is Muhammad Farhan. I am student of Aiden Boarding School Pamijahan. I'm a 10 Network Engineering. Hey, this occasion, this video, I would like to give you some IT tutorial. It is about NAT or Network Addressing Translation. Before we go to the configuration, we must know what is NAT. What is function of NAT? Okay, NAT is a network address translation. It's an IP address mapping process where computer network device will assign public IP address to local network device so that many private IP can access public IPs. In other words, NAT will translate IP address so that IP address on the local network can access public IPs on the one network or wide uh, yeah, not translation a private IP address to be able to access a hot address on the internet using a IP public IP address on that network. Without NAT, it is impossible for private to access the IP public as a local network to access the internet. Local IP is used only for local networks, while public IP is used in general. Public IP is used to communicate in the internet world because it can be accessed from everywhere, anywhere. And then in our vendor or Cisco is there is three types of a NAT. The first type of NAT is static NAT. Static NAT is use of one IP public for one IP private, or we call it one-to-one mapping. For example, there is a server that wants to be accessed via the internet, while the server use a IP private by using static NAT. The server can be accessed via public IP. And then the second type of NAT is dynamic NAT, used for of a public IP use of IP public or IP private that have the same month. So to use it requires the same number of public IP and private IP. For example, we have five clients, then we must have five IP publics also. So we use dynamic NAT. So it's pemborosan, if you use dynamic NAT. If you want save your money, you can use dynamic NAT overloading. In this type of a NAT is you just can use one IP public for all of your client in your network. So your clients not need to each IP public. So we can use one IP public for all of client in our network. That this step. And then in the NAT there's destination NAT, there is source NAT. Destination NAT is destination network address translation is a NAT that function to forward packet from a IP public to a firewall to host in the network. And for source NAT is source network address translation is a NAT whose job is to change the source address of a data packet. Source NAT only applies to post storing. Okay, we go to the left. Okay, I minimize my cam first. Cam. Wait, wait. Sorry guys, it's wasting your time. And then we go to the Cisco packet tracer. Now, in here in this lab, we using two router and then one server, one switch, and then two client or two laptop. Okay, you go to the first step. First step is you open your router first, and then you turn it on your interface, all of your interface. Enable, enable, and configuration terminal, and then go to interface serial. Go to interface serial. Sorry, wait. You go to interface serial. So, and then we turn on the serial interface and shut down. The shutdown, and then we put the IP address. We using IP public address in there. IP address. For example, in this for learn, we're using IP address 100.100.100.1, and then we using slash 30. Enter. Then we go to the interface. Pass Ethernet 0/0. Who interface who connect the client to the router. Then no shit done. Then we put the IP address. That's 199.168 and dot 1.1, and using slash 24 and enter. Exit, exit, sorry, exit, and then we make DHCP for our client. IP DHCP full 1, and then network 191.168 1.0, then subnet max of the IP address we have 24 rank, and then default gateway 192.168.1.1. Enter and then exit. And do right first. We moving to the another router. Enter, enable, configure terminal, and then we go to interface serial, our interface serial. Then no shit done. We turn it on. Then, and then we put the IP address 100.100.100.2, and then we use slash 30. Enter. Then we go to the interface host Ethernet 0/0, the interface to connect the router to the server. Then no shutdown, and then we put the IP address using 8.8.8.1, using slash 24, yeah, 24 is 0. Connected. We using IPDHCP for our server. Network, don't forget, network is always 0, and then the subnet, don't forget to default, um, 8.1, and then done. Our business for this router is done. Then we go to configure the NAT. Configure NAT. The first step, if you want put configure the NAT, is you must IP route to the server first. You use default router route. You know, default route is used for you go to internet. So we like IP route, and then IP route. We write the 0.0.0.0.0. It's for default route, and then the subnet 0.0.0.0, and then we using the gateway is 100.100.100.2, and then enter, and we see first. already get the root of this. So IP the static already get, and then the first step if we want configure NAT is you must configure access list for all of your client. Access list permit sorry one permit any enter that. That's the rule for the client. The give a permit to your client to access the public IP. And then we go to configure NAT. The command is IP NAT. Sorry, we search here. IP NAT, IP NAT inside, IP NAT inside, IP NAT inside, and then source appeared inside. Okay, if you want using static NAT, you write down static. If you want use dynamic NAT or dynamic overload, you must configure. You make pool of public IP. So list. You must list if you want using uh, dynamic NAT. You must make a pool for IP public. You must make a pool for IP public. So you write down the pool of IP public in here. Please maybe 100 to 200 the 2 until the 10 for your client in here, but we're not using dynamic NAT. We're using dynamic overloading NAT. So we just use interface of the IP public we put, interface, okay, interface serial, and then we write down overload, oh sorry, you must write down the name, please, and enter. Okay, that, and then the next step is like access list. We must use inside or outside. And then in here, the traffic data is from our client. So our client is from fast Ethernet 0/0. And then we go to interface slash 0/0, and then IP NAT at the name inside or outside is the inside because the traffic data from our client. So the traffic data enter the router from fast Ethernet 0/0, so inside, and then you go to interface serial 2/0, and then in here the interface serial with 2/0 is we're using outside. Why? Because the traffic data go out from routers. We using serial 2/0. That's it. Then we enter. Then exit. Then do right. Do show run already. Then we don't. Okay. Okay. The next step is we configure our client uh, to accept the IP address automatically. IP address, and then again, and then desktop, configuration, the IP address, and get. And then for the server, hey, we're using it, bro. We don't use DHCP, sorry. And then, okay, yeah, okay. Try to ping from our client to a server. It, and then let's see this. The first try is we get pilot, and then the second try we get successful, and then for the second client get successful too. So we just use one IP public to all of our client in our network. Okay, this a function of dynamic overload. Okay, you can see in here we get successful. Okay, we can try to do show IP not translation. Okay, yes, that's the IP for our clients. The 2.g the 3 is using dot one. The IP address who put in the interface serial to in here. So that's the function of a NAT. You can transition your address from IP private to IP public for you to access the public network, the public IP. Okay, maybe that's all of me, guys. Uh, I hope this tutorial so useful for you. Uh, I'm sorry if I have many mistakes. Then that's all of me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.